vacation?
Yes, great. And vacation ended up being a lot of watching the models from home. I've never worked so hard from home in quite some time. At one point, I was like, do I need to come in? And I was like, you know what? Honestly, I need to get some rest leading up to this because this is, so I did take that time off, but I did.
I think you should go to the boss and see if you can maybe have one of those vacation days back.
I'm
At
making
least
them up.
one.
We're going to get comp days this weekend.
True.
Look.
There's no such thing as those, by the way.
I know. All things considered, in all seriousness, we've got a significant winter storm, and the way I've been kind of describing it is Central Arkansas is going to be in the battleground between a major snowstorm and what looks to be also maybe a major ice storm. And I know Todd is, it's...
We have thoughtful discussion about what we think is going to happen, okay? So we have the best case scenario, we have the worst case scenario. But no matter what, somebody's going to be yelling at us.
Totally.
I guarantee by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, somebody's going to be yelling, you said it was going to be snowing right now. No, we didn't. It's not until Friday night. But as Joel was saying, to back to the fact, Joel's very concerned, and I see what he's saying, and I agree, the concern for significant freezing rain, a lot of freezing rain. It's just where does that boundary set up?
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. And I think, when we say where is that boundary going to set up, at what time of this event? It is a long duration event. We're talking about perhaps close to 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours of this stuff coming down. So that boundary we're talking about, it's going to deviate. It's going to move throughout the entire storm time.
Right. And let's just say that you start off as snow, you won't stay snow. And then if you start out as sleet, you're not going to stay sleet. I mean, you're going to bounce around in some portions of Central Arkansas from one precipitation type to the other, back and forth, back and forth.
There may be some spot. I think if there was any spots that I think that gets pure snow, north, far north. I do think that maybe even there could be some sleet that mixes in times, maybe as far north as Clinton.
Yes.
Maybe even a little farther north at times. So there may be, but the thing is, you're going to have so much snow that sleet is not going to, the farther north you get, that sleet is going to have less of an impact on your snow totals. Now, you get south of Highway 64, you get into Central Arkansas, and then, that you're talking maybe some sleet. And we're going to talk about what the difference is, especially between sleet and freezing rain here in a minute. But then you get south of Highway 270, especially south of Highway 278, southeast of Highway 79, then you're talking ice storm potential. And the question and the concern that I have, and I get that Todd and I have discussed this, and Todd makes great points. This could be a lot of sleet in Central Arkansas, but we've got to cover our bases in case that melting layer gets a little deeper in Central Arkansas. Then what? And how long does that last?
So what I've been saying is, and I'm thinking, of course, the freezing rate, there's going to be a layer aloft that's substantial in some parts of the state where it's above freezing. But there's also a layer beneath that's substantially below
really
freezing.
Cold.
Really cold. So,
and I totally understand. I mean, that to get freezing rain in the teens
I've never seen
so difficult. And I don't even think, the 1994 ice storm is the storm that got me into weather. If you're in southeast Arkansas and you're watching in Ashley County, if you're older than I am, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even think it was in the teens then. I think it was 20s.
It was?
I don't remember. I mean, I
wouldn't doubt it.
I was 5 or 6.
Yeah, I've never seen
I was just 5.
Freezing rain and in the teens. Not saying it can't happen.
I want to say that there were what did y'all have in 1994?
It was all sleet in 94 in Central Arkansas. It was southeast Arkansas got the freezing rain.
The placement of this is very similar in many ways.
I remember the sleet in February 1994. The sleet was piled up like 4 inches in Little Rock, about 3 or 4 inches of sleet in Little Rock. And I remember because I dislocated my shoulder in that storm.
Yeah, you did. I've heard that story.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what's going to happen.
You fell down some stairs or something?
Yeah. I was at the grocery store, Colony West.
There's so many facets to this. And so, I mean, we got to talk about sliding, look, if you can, and I know not everybody can, but stay home in this if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're ready to stay home for a while. Be prepared for power outages. Let's hope you don't lose power. Todd, I wouldn't be shocked if there are power outages even in northern Arkansas from the snow.
The way of the snow. This is going to have impacts. And if we
that's
can't,
really, really what we want to focus
go
on.
to Weather Graphics Computer number 1, and let's get to this. First of all, you see here that the entire state is under a winter storm warning, except for 2 counties in southeast Arkansas, which is an ice storm warning. Look how far north it goes. It's from New Mexico all the way up to southeast Maine. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. So we need to talk about the impacts for everybody before we get.
Oh.
Huh?
I think I know. I think she's saying that this is no longer streaming on your Facebook Live. She's streaming our. Maybe. Hold on. I'll have to look and see.
Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't matter much anyway. She can do whatever she wants to with that.
I think there was some miscommunication there. Or that's not what I meant to do. Well,
James Spann pops up, of course.
Let's see what we've got going here.
Okay.
Right.
Let me just, if you can. Okay. So there they go. The impacts, the winter storm impacts.
This is streaming live, and this is actually, I love to see this because this is what I think a lot of people would rather see anyway. And so I can try to keep an eye on the comments over here too. But yes, going back to the impacts, you can see here across the top, power outages. We've got medium. And Todd, I took southeast off, and I know you had south. I can maybe say south. I wonder, and we're going to show the map that we just drew out here in a moment. But at some point, I feel like we might get to a point do we need to put power outages at high? I'm not ready to put that yet.
But the closings, I would put it extreme, but it's happening on a weekend, so it's like things are already schools are already closed.
Churches there's a lot of events. You've got the Big Buck Classic was going on this weekend.
That's right. The Harlem Globetrotters, canceled. I don't know about that either.
Oh, I didn't even, I don't know about that. There's a lot of weekend events that just can't happen. Not gonna happen. They're not, it's just getting around is going to be very difficult this weekend. So that's why we have the travel at extreme. Closings is high, would be extreme if it was during the week. And honestly, I think that could go still extreme because we have an alert day now for Monday. Monday for the extreme cold. This stuff, it ain't going nowhere for a little while.
Right. No, it's it's going to be on the ground for quite some time.
We're going to be living with this for a little while.
And again, this is so important that we focus on the impacts of this. Travel is going to be messed up across the state. And the prolonged period of sub-freezing air, it begins tomorrow evening when we go below freezing, which is around 6 or 7 o'clock. We go below freezing, and we stay there until probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And then you got the extreme temperatures, and they've issued, this doesn't happen often, an extreme cold warning for most of the state.
And that wind chill, -5 to -15, that's most likely Monday morning. But even during the day, Todd, look, I know, let's say we're getting snow. Northern Arkansas will be getting snow. When it's snowing, people want to get outside. You're going to find it extremely difficult to stay outside during the snow and after the snow. That extreme cold, and we're going to go through wind chills here in a moment, but that's going to be something. Here's the feels like temperatures starting around the time those extreme cold warnings go out. That's Friday night, Saturday morning. It feels like 10. Y'all, the wind chill goes down during the day to the single digits on Saturday. This is while the precip is coming down. Snowing gangbusters in northern Arkansas. What does that mean?
I don't know.
You say that a lot, and I like it. It sounds good.
It sounds like it's something from the 1920s, doesn't it?
Like, what does that mean? But I like it.
Yeah.
The terminology. But I'd much rather have snow, obviously, in this case. But
that's the best case scenario.
Look, northern Arkansas it's going to be snowing gangbusters with a wind chill of 1.
But look at the orientation of the contours with that, how they go from northeast to southwest. That's the cold Arctic air drilling down the east side of the Ozarks. And you can see that from Jonesboro down to Camden. So that cold air is getting
kind of
funneled.
blocked being by the mountains,
And then you look at Fort Smith, 12. The cold air is obviously everywhere.
And Sunday morning, wind chills are down below 0 in northern Arkansas. But as we get into Sunday night and Monday morning, that is when...
That's actually better than the model data from yesterday. It was showing 23 below 0.
I saw some 20s below 0 earlier. Earlier the European had that. This is incredible cold. And then even beyond that, we may not get above freezing for, I mean, Wednesday, maybe Tuesday could be.
Well, the models will have a very difficult time because of snow and ice on the ground. The other thing to consider, Joel, is that you have a huge snowpack to the north of Arkansas that the air is going to be traveling down. So, you have a wind out of the north during this. It could be even colder over that snowpack than what's being represented here.
Are suggesting, yeah.
Right. And then that's also into consideration with the next surge of Arctic air later next week. That's another consideration you have to have.
Something before we get to moving on about other facets of this storm. Let's talk about the 3 Ps. I know there's 4 Ps, plants. I think by now most tropical plants they're inside at this point.
They bit the dust.
They've already either bit the dust or they're inside already. But let's talk about the 3 Ps. People, check on your neighbors, the elderly, people experiencing homelessness. There are a lot of people who, may not have the means to stay warm like everybody else. If you are capable of lending out a helping hand, we're going to have to help each other out.
When we had that Arctic blast in early December, my wife and I went through our stuff, and I found a bunch of old coats. We just went out to places, and we're like, here's a coat. If you can, help your neighbors. Sure. And there are those that are very less fortunate that just down on life right now, and help them out.
Pets, I mean, look, if you're cold, they're cold. You will be cold. They will be cold. Please take care of those pets. And not just that, but also livestock. And this is going to bring us into another conversation. I grew up with cows. We always had to go out and break the water or break the ice on the ponds so that the livestock could get water. You got to keep those kids away from the ponds too.
Yes, disasters happen all the time.
That can be so dangerous, and we want to make sure. I mean, look, our ice is not going to be thick enough like it is up in Minnesota. They go ice fishing all the time. I remember I did a story one time in South Dakota. They sent me out with a camera. I was too scared to walk on the ice. They laughed at me because I was taught you stay off the ice at all costs. It doesn't stay cold enough for us to,
for it to be substantial.
To drive on. None of that's going to happen. Pipes, obviously.
It's going to be
there will be pipes that break in this.
And if you don't take those precautions now, good luck on getting a plumber if something goes south. The plumbers are going to be in high demand. You don't want to fall into that category. So make sure those are insulated. You drip your faucets and open up cabinet doors so you let the warmer air from the house get underneath. If you have cabinet doors in your kitchen, your bathroom, and you need that warmer air to circulate in there.
And you can even if you don't, so last year I was living in an older house. It was not as well insulated. There were a lot of drafts. I could find the draft. I just run my hand around the door. You can feel it. I went and just got some of the sealant, and I temporarily sealed that, because you only really need it for this storm, and then I took them off after. I was like, we'll be fine now, but just got to get through this. Think about this. How to efficiently warm your house. Are there rooms that aren't being used in your house? Shut those doors. Yep. Put a towel down so that warm air isn't getting into those rooms that you're not trying to keep warm.
That's my office right there. So that door will be shut.
Yeah. So drip your faucets, insulate your pipes. I'm trying to think of anything else. Something else. If you live in South Arkansas, we're going to talk more about the precip types here in a minute. But if you're in South Arkansas, think about where you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. If you got a big tree that hangs over your house,
I know where you're going with that.
Where are you parking? There will probably be tree damage in South Arkansas. Southeast Arkansas especially. Yeah. Could some of that get into South Central Arkansas?
Possibly.
Very possibly.
That's the worry is how far north does that get? Could it even get into Central Arkansas? That is a concern. Right now we think there's a better chance for sleet, but there is that door, that window that's open for getting as far north as Little Rock. And these are the sleet and precipitation types. What you want is on the right side, all snow. And actually, Joel, go to Max 1 on this.
Oh yeah, you kind of broke it down.
So in South Arkansas, on the left side, that's the problem. You have snow aloft, but then you have a large area which is represented in red as temperatures above freezing. But that's way above our head. And then that area just below that near the ground goes below freezing, but it's very narrow. It's very shallow. So it doesn't have time to freeze into a sleet pellet, and it's just liquid. And once it hits something on the ground, a tree, a power line, deck, whatever, it freezes on contact, and it's pure ice. What you want in these situations are the middle one and the right one, the Central North Arkansas one, where that warm layer is more aloft and that Sub-freezing air is deeper at the surface for sleet. And the best case scenario out of this situation is on the right, northern Arkansas, where the most of that is going to be below freezing and it's pure snow. So those are South Arkansas, freezing rain, central Arkansas, sleet and some snow. And this isn't saying that you're going to get only sleet. No, it's going to go back and forth because that warm layer aloft is going to change over time during this event.
And yeah, it's going to back off. It's going to come in and, it's going to be back and forth at times. So, but, you mentioned you want to have more snow. Obviously, that would be ideal. That's going to be still a lot of snow. And so could sleet be, in a way, your best case scenario in terms of power outages?
Yes.
Because, and we can use your demonstration here,
Okay.
Todd.
So let's say you have 1 inch of water that we have to deal with hypothetically. So we look at how much water is going to be produced out of the atmosphere. Then we have to convert that 1 inch of water. That's a hypothetical. We'll have more than that, actually. Then you have to convert that into different types of wintry weather. Well, if you convert 1 inch of water to sleet, okay? 1 inch of water. Let's just pretend this is 2 inches. Yeah. These are BBs here. So you get 2 inches, okay? Now you convert that 1 inch of water to snow, and you get 6 inches
so it piles up a lot more, and so that's the reason why.
Okay.
That same amount of moisture.
So you see the difference in the precipitation type. When you get 1 inch of water, you get sleet that's a couple of inches deep. You get 1 inch of water and it's all snow, it's 6 inches. But let's say you get both. Watch what happens when you put sleet on the snow.
Oh, nice.
What happens?
It compacts it.
It compacts.
Very good demonstration. I didn't know that was where you were going to go with that. But something else I want to mention, and we don't have, and I wouldn't, but
it cuts into your snow amounts.
If I were to use this this analogy, if you will, to freezing rain, I would probably use glue.
That's good. Little Elmer's.
I'm not going to use glue in this. It gets messy, but hey, my brother did a science fair project after the 1994 ice storm, and he just got glue and glued a tree branch, to demonstrate how that works. And it's just, it weights it down. And so it's not as, it doesn't pile up. I mean, it does pile up relatively, but it's not going to pile up like just sleet and snow.
I mean, we know how heavy, you have those jugs of water that you put, the spring water you put in those water coolers. That's like a 5-gallon jug, okay? Yeah. Think of that heavy. It's heavy. Now multiply that by I don't know how much for an entire tree.
Or a power line. Just a single power pole.
Yeah.
It can carry on, or it can only hold so much weight. So this is the precip types. I wanted to also show here, this is a graphic that was posted by our friend John Lewis, who is a retired National Weather Service meteorologist.
I don't know if he likes the word retired because he's still pretty young.
He's still working. He's still definitely got his hands in it and, really watching it. And he did put this on his page and he told us we're welcome to use it. I was about to kind of start pulling these, and I was like, well, he's already put it together.
This is the scientific version.
This
you need to switch it over on to the live stream. This is the scientific version of that.
So we've got 3 vertical soundings. This gives you the temperature throughout the entire layer of the atmosphere. Monticello on the left, Little Rock in the middle, Harrison on the right. Now, if you look here, there is a line that has 32 degrees on each one of these. And you're looking at that greenish red line there. Do you see how in Monticello, it's on the right side of that dotted white line that says 32. It's on the right side for a while. That's your melting layer. That's a solid melting layer with a shallow layer of cold air at the surface. That's freezing rain. Little Rocks is a little bit more of a shallow warm layer, but Todd, that's still a pretty deep warm layer there that we've got here.
It's rather thick, but so is the cold air at the surface. It's more substantial.
You're exactly
so
right.
it's like trying to figure this thing out.
It's also oozing in, this whole time. So is there any, there's so many questions here.
What you want is the Harrison sounding.
What you want is Harrison because it's on the left side. You can solidly say it's snow. But our concern is that at times that melting layer in central Arkansas could be deep enough that it completely melts the snow and then refreezes it as ice. Could be on top of existing snow already. I would not be a bit shocked, and we're going to walk you through some of the – well, first of all, let me I'm just going to walk you through snowfall accumulation according to the graph.
And then I'm going to pull. I got the new 18Z run of the graph, so you go ahead with that.
Okay, so this is
you
actually have like so look, overnight Friday into Saturday morning.
I love this model for winter weather.
Yeah, graph shows
It's
a
very
lot of
good.
snow for central Arkansas, but look,
And it's a good model.
it is a good model. It's actually handled winter weather really well this
Mm-hmm.
year. But look, there's a huge footprint of snow there. You're maybe getting snow in South Arkansas for a little while, but here's Saturday
wait.
around.
Remember, it doesn't see sleet though.
Also true. Also true. This particular model is not going to tell us how much sleet there is. Some of that may be some of that's probably, what you're seeing here is probably sleet. And some of what I'm going to show on the ice accumulation graphic is also going to be sleet.
Right.
That's what makes this really complicated. But so around Saturday at 11, yeah, there could be snow on the ground. But let's look at, not that one, let's look at ice accumulation. Friday night, okay, there might be a little bit of ice accumulation in South Arkansas. But then look at how, as we get into that Saturday morning time frame, that spreads. That's a problem. And then it starts to creep. Actually, this run does not take it very far north, Todd.
See, I think it's latching onto that colder solution.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's
So it tries to do it
does.
Saturday night for a little while. It might not be much, and at some point maybe it switches back to
I'm willing
snow.
to bet most of that across northern Arkansas is sleet.
I can see that.
I can see most of that across northern sleet. And you would have to double those amounts. So if it says 0.2, it'd be 0.4 inches of sleet.
But let's talk about southern Arkansas for a second. Real
That's
talk.
the problem, yeah.
DeQueen, Arkadelphia, Carthage, Camden, Pine Bluff, Rison, Star City, and all those places south. We have ice storm warnings already for Ashley and Chico County. Do those need to be issued any farther north? Let's just look at what impacts you would be facing if you had a quarter of an inch of ice. You'd have some tree damage, perhaps. Even at a quarter of an inch of ice. Slick roads, signed, sealed, delivered. That's going to be a problem.
Signed,
Few outages.
sealed, delivered. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I was doing that in my head. But
I just said that part out loud.
But when you get a quarter to a half inch, that's disruptive. You're going to have some power outages. You're going to have more ice-covered roads. You're going to have more tree damage. But you get over a half inch, it's critical. And then you get beyond that, and you're talking crippling. And if you do get an inch of ice, doesn't matter if you got snow in there as well.
By the way,
that can be a problem.
Harlem Globetrotters is canceled.
That's
Boss
no
just
shock
texted
there.
me that. Let's go over to forecast
Right, yeah,
track.
let's
And
do
I
that.
also want to remind you, too, about our newscast, 4, 5, 5:30, 6, 6:30, and 10, 9 and 10. There's so many of them. Yeah. We're debuting Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
We're debuting our mobile weather center. It's a
like the
storm
Kool-Aid
chase
banner.
vehicle. We're debuting Thunder. All right, here's forecast track. This is at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Now, remember, most of tomorrow, the temperatures are falling. It's windy. But this is the graph, which Joel was just showing you. And the graph which you see in peach, it doesn't know the difference between sleet and freezing rain. So some of that, especially in southern Arkansas, may be freezing rain, but I think a lot of that's going to be sleet to begin with initially. So the leading edge of that looks snowy, 7 o'clock out in western Arkansas, and it's showing a time period around 6 or 7, 6 or 7 for it to begin in the metro.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
No,
and then look at the,
so that comes in a little earlier than the last run, right?
But by 9 o'clock, you got snow coming down. You got sleet overspreading central and southern Arkansas. So, and I'm looking at this for the first time, by the way. So look how close the sleet and snow line is to the metro. That's why this is horribly difficult in the metro to figure out how much is sleet and how much is snow, and why I wanted to do this demonstration, because it changes everything. It changes all of your amounts. If you get more sleet or if you get more snow, it all changes, which makes this so difficult. That's at 1 o'clock in the morning. Then we go to 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 13 degrees, and you got snow in northern Pulaski County and ice in southern Pulaski County.
This is going to be a lot colder than last year's snow. Last year's snow was around 31, 32 degrees, right around the entire duration of the snow, right? If I remember correctly.
I can't remember what happened yesterday.
I just remember it was not this cold.
And this is
incredibly cold.
But remember, this is guidance. This is not a forecast. But if 13 degrees is realized in Little Rock, I don't think we're having freezing rain. I've never seen freezing rain at 13 degrees. I have at 24 degrees.
Yeah.
24 down in southern Arkansas. I absolutely have. And that's when you get your bad ice storms. So now watch, it's going to warm up aloft. Then we go back. It shows us going back to some ice, some sleet, possibly freezing rain back in the metro. So we're going back
Saturday
and forth.
morning. Does this now have a break in the precip Saturday?
With wave number 2?
So there's kind of 2 waves, and there's question as to whether it really stops in between those waves.
That's
or
what the graph has.
Slacks off a little bit. Does South Arkansas keep getting the okay?
Here comes wave
graph.
number 2.
And there's 2.
And that, my goodness. That's sleet in the teens. Freezing rain south. It could be freezing rain central. So this is the temperature rises. Do you think the temperature is going to rise Saturday night? Because is it seeing the precipitation coming down so hard?
Because you're getting a closed low, and that warm conveyor belt is starting to crank up a little bit more.
With a northeast wind?
A little bit.
With the northeast wind,
you get a cold, shallow layer, and so that's oozing the cold air south. So you get slow cold air advection.
But the temperature's coming up at night.
Up, yeah.
Is it pulling down the warm air aloft because the precipitation is so heavy?
See, look, I mean, this is by far the most complicated type of weather that we have to deal with. So it's
how do temperatures rise from 13 to 22 at night with Arctic air?
Precip coming down too.
It's got to be seeing the warmer air aloft getting dragged down, I would think. See, we're
got to look at. I wish we had soundings for that.
Okay, but then the Saturday and the Sunday morning, on the back side of this,
there may be thunder freezing rain in southeast Arkansas. By the way, with that last little round.
Yeah. And there it is. That's the end of the new run. I mean, it's so complicated.
It's a doozy, y'all.
It's a whopper.
So, look, this is where we kind of, in a sense, I don't like. First off, I had somebody comment on my Facebook the other day. They were like, just admit it. You don't know what's going to happen. I will admit there are a lot of things we don't know, but if you're wanting us to just give up, that ain't happening.
How does it go from 11 degrees Saturday morning to 22 degrees Saturday night?
And that's where I say, Todd, all those numbers are below freezing, and no matter what's coming down, it's impactful.
No matter what.
This is a map that, by the way, we just put together. We've updated this a little bit. Northern Arkansas, 6 to 10 inches plus. There will probably be a few spots, maybe many spots, that get over a foot of snow. And heavy snow. It's
3:29, and I want to make sure everybody knows we're going to be doing this again at 7 o'clock. Okay? Yes. At 7 o'clock, Arkansas Storm Team Live on all our platforms, except for TV, but the digital platforms will be live again.
But they're in southern Arkansas there. Impactful ice is very possible, along with a little bit of sleet. Again, we're going to have our regular scheduled programs tonight. Be sure to stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in and trusting the Arkansas Storm Team. We'll go ahead and wrap this up.
And for everybody on
don't want to get cut off.
Good Thursday afternoon to you. I'm Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Joel Young here alongside.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah, you need a microphone.
I need a
don't you?
microphone, don't I?
Welcome to the show, Todd.
KRK Chief Meteorologist Todd Yacobian. It is great to have Joel back from vacation.
Yes, great. And vacation ended up being a lot of watching the models from home. I've never worked so hard from home in quite some time. At one point, I was like, do I need to come in? And I was like, you know what? Honestly, I need to get some rest leading up to this because this is, so I did take that time off, but I did.
I think you should go to the boss and see if you can maybe have one of those vacation days back.
I'm
At
making
least
them up.
one.
We're going to get comp days this weekend.
True.
Look.
There's no such thing as those, by the way.
I know. All things considered, in all seriousness, we've got a significant winter storm, and the way I've been kind of describing it is Central Arkansas is going to be in the battleground between a major snowstorm and what looks to be also maybe a major ice storm. And I know Todd is, it's...
We have thoughtful discussion about what we think is going to happen, okay? So we have the best case scenario, we have the worst case scenario. But no matter what, somebody's going to be yelling at us.
Totally.
I guarantee by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, somebody's going to be yelling, you said it was going to be snowing right now. No, we didn't. It's not until Friday night. But as Joel was saying, back to the fact, Joel's very concerned, and I see what he's saying, and I agree, the concern for significant freezing rain, a lot of freezing rain. It's just where does that boundary set up?
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. And I think, when we say where is that boundary going to set up, at what time of this event? It is a long duration event. We're talking about perhaps close to 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours of this stuff coming down. So that boundary we're talking about, it's going to deviate. It's going to move throughout the entire storm time.
Right. And let's just say that you start off as snow, you won't stay snow. And then if you start out as sleet, you're not going to stay sleet. I mean, you're going to bounce around in some portions of Central Arkansas